And if you don't already know me, my name is Alicia. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm joining you from the native lands of the Ktunaxa, Spokane, and Shuswap tribes, now known as Spokane, Washington. So we will be fully seated in the chair today. So I have a sturdy chair on a non-skid surface, and I also have a couple of blankets and a firm throw pillow. So within that context, let me know if there's anything specific you would like to cover. And I'll keep an eye on the chat. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and get set up. So you first off want to have your feet flat on the floor. So if your legs are shorter, maybe you take one of those folded blankets and put it down on the floor under the feet to raise the floor up to you a little bit higher. My legs are longer. Oftentimes I like to sit up on a folded blanket. So know that you can use your blankets to help adjust the height of your feet on the floor and your bum in the chair. And you can also have your ankles roughly under your knees or maybe even slightly in front of your knees, whatever makes you feel most stable. So you have a nice stable base. And I'm sitting towards the front of my chair, and you may or may not want to do that. Couple other options. You could take that firm throw pillow, you could tuck it in behind you between your back and the backrest to fill up some of that space and offer you some additional support. Or if you'd like the full support of the backrest, go ahead and scoot all the way back in the chair. So let's also take the skin out and back from each hip. That might help you feel your sitting bones more fully in the chair. And then feeling your feet on the floor, your bum in the chair. Let's let the spine start to lengthen up. You can roll the shoulders forward up towards the ears, and then let the shoulders soften back and down. And you could also play with imagining something light like a washcloth on top of your head, and you're gently lifting up into that washcloth. That might bring some length to the back of your neck. You could also imagine it as a very slight tuck of the chin towards the throat. It may also help bring your head more back over your shoulders if you have a habit of jutting the chin forward like we can do when we feel like we're in a hurry. And then from this overall alignment, what other adjustments do you feel like you'd like to make yourself more steady and at ease? And if you haven't practiced with me before, I like to remind you that this is your practice. So anything that I'm going to offer, think of those as invitations, and then tune into your own bodily wisdom and your own inner teacher, and let those be your primary guides for our time together. In a moment, I'm going to invite the bell that will drop us into the centering portion of our practice. And then from there, we'll transition to some gentle seated movements. We'll finish up with a little bit of breath work and some integration and relaxation time. So from here, you're welcome to soften the gaze. Maybe you choose a point on the floor a few feet in front of you, something that is stationary that you can rest your gaze on. Or you might choose to close the eyes down completely. And I'll invite the bell to drop us in. So let's take a moment as we're getting settled in to acknowledge that the tradition of yoga originated thousands of years ago in ancient India. And when you're ready to shift gears, let's bring the awareness more internally. Starting by noticing where your feet are in contact with the floor. You might even give the toes a wiggle. That might help you pick up on some of the sensations there, especially if you're not used to noticing these things. Feeling the firmness of the floor beneath you. Maybe picking up on any textures or changes in temperature there. And this is one part of our base, feeling our feet on the floor. This is part of grounding yourself. And same process with your bum in the chair. Maybe you shift the weight side to side, forward and back. Feeling your weight roll across the sitting bones. Notice what it's like to have your bum grounded in the chair. What kind of similarities are there from what you just did with the feet? What kind of differences? And the technique of grounding is something subtle that you can come back to throughout your day. It can help you get out of your mind, maybe when it's racing or you have too much to do. Check in with your body. Feel where you're in contact with the floor or what you're sitting or laying on. And that can help start the process of maybe down-regulating the nervous system just a bit. And broaden out further. Notice the places where your clothes are in contact with the skin, or maybe you feel the temperature of the air on the skin. And as you're scanning through the body, maybe you come across places of discomfort or pain even. If there's something you can do to reposition yourself to alleviate that sensation, maybe you choose to do that. Or if there's something that's hanging on and it's something you're working with right now and you can't easily alleviate it, maybe you offer a hand to that place. Give it some acknowledgement, maybe even a gentle massage or pressure. What does it feel like to acknowledge those areas with a certain level of acceptance that this is how it is right now? How does that feel as compared to the effort that it takes sometimes to try to wish it away or try to push it away? And then start to notice your breath if you haven't already. It may help to take a hand to the chest and belly so that you can feel how your body's moving with each breath cycle. Notice the expansion and the lengthening up with each inhale. And the softening and settling down with each exhale. Observing your breath exactly as it is without having to change it. And noticing any thoughts or emotions that are arising for you. Whatever's coming up, can you let go of some of the judgment about whether it's good or bad, right or wrong? Imagine that you're more witnessing and observing what's arising, rather than taking it personally. And I'd like to bring in the intention today that I am not alone in this experience. And as you think of this intention, maybe you choose to cross your arms across your chest, taking your fingertips towards the shoulders. Kind of like a little hug for yourself. This can be a reminder that you're not alone. And as you're feeling ready, you can release this position, opening the eyes if they were closed or lifting the gaze. Visually reorienting to your space. And if you're ready for some movement, this might also be a good time to start to let the body move intuitively. Were there any areas while we had some quiet and stillness that your body was asking for movement? If you're new to this and this seems a little odd, it's okay, just go with it. And start somewhere. Start with maybe something that feels good in your body or feels interesting, something you'd like to explore more. And then just stay open and curious, letting go of any expectations about how you're moving right now or about this practice. And then see how your body and mind respond to whatever you're doing. And then see if you'd like a little bit more of that, or maybe you'd like to change it in some sort of way. Maybe that change is small, maybe it's big. whenever you're complete with those movements, we can bring it on back through center, resetting any part of the body that you need so that you're feeling nice and stable in your chair. And then let's start with some circles of the torso. You're in charge of how fast or slow, large or small your circles are. And you also could choose to link up the pace of your movement to the natural pace of your breath. Perhaps inhaling as you come back and exhaling as you come forward. But know that there's no right or wrong way to be doing this. You could be reversing the order of the breath. Maybe it just doesn't feel right to link up the movement to the breath. So no one thing is better than the other. It's just meeting yourself wherever you're at and what feels natural for you. Feeling the weight shift from one sitting bone to the other, one foot to the other. Feeling some length in your spine. Next time you come through center, let's reverse and go the opposite direction. Has anything changed in the sensations from one direction to the other? Can you give yourself whatever you need on this side or on this direction? Whenever you're feeling even both ways, let's meet on back at center again. And with the hands on the thighs, with the next inhale, let's lengthen the spine up, sliding the hands towards the hip creases. So the elbows can stay in close to the body as you're opening the chest. Maybe the gaze comes up. You're bringing an arch into your back here. And then on the exhale, slide the fingertips towards the knees and then round the back towards the back of the chair and tuck the chin. Inhale, opening the chest and belly, the front of the body, arching the back. And exhale, rounding the back, tucking in the chin. Find your own pace here. You can let the pace of your breath guide you. And if this feels good, maybe you stay right here with the hands on the thighs. Or with your next inhale, option to take the arms wide as you're arching the back. And then wrap the arms around for a hug on the exhale. Sometimes I like to add a little tiny twist at the end there, back and forth. Inhale, arching the back, opening forward. Exhale, rounding the back. Wherever you're at, let's do one more round. let's come back through center. An option to take that crossed arm position with the hands or fingertips on the shoulders. Knowing that you're not alone in whatever experience you're having. If you're crossing your arms, let's switch the cross. Let's switch which arm's on top. Notice if there are any differences in how that feels. Feel where your arms are touching each other. Feel where your hands are touching your shoulders and chest. Let's release the cross of the arms, give the arms a shake out. And then let's move the arms in any intuitive way that feels best for you. What would you like to explore with the movements of the arms? Articulating the joints in all different directions. You might think of octopus arms or spaghetti. Get your wrists in on it and your elbows, shoulders. Let's make gentle fists and roll the wrists one direction and other direction. Let's extend the wrists and flex. Let's turn the palms in and do that again, but out to the side. Let's wiggle the fingers, flick the fingers, maybe in different directions. This would be an opportunity to bring in a little bit of a twisting motion too here if you're ready for it with your flicks. Twisting to one side and then coming back through center, twisting to the other side. Let's sigh out a few exhales. Let's turn the palms up, let the wrist flop. Palms facing in, let the wrist flop. And palms down. And shake that out. Let's go ahead and root down through the left leg and foot. And I'm going to give a few options for this. So you could bring the right foot in towards the left and let that right knee fall out so you're coming onto the outside blade of the right foot. You could choose to keep both feet towards center and take them out front, crossing the right ankle over the left. Or you could keep that left foot back in where it was and cross the right ankle up over the left knee. So see what's going to feel best for you today. Sometimes I like to, especially if my hip is feeling tight, I like to start with a little bit of rocking. So it doesn't matter where you're at, it'll just look slightly different. But you can let the legs rock a little bit side to side if you like that motion. Let's bring it back through center. And then option 2, lift and lower the right knee. Same thing here, it'll just look slightly different. But we're lifting and lowering that right knee. You could use your right hand for a little bit of support under the knee if you like. Let's let that knee settle. Let's inhale, lengthen the spine. And then on the next exhale, let's hinge forward from the hips. So when you hinge from the hips, that means keeping the spine long and the chest open rather than hunching down over that leg. Let's let all the hinge forward come from the hips. That might mean that it looks like you're not going as far. That's okay. Being patient and taking full breaths so that if any more space opens up, which it may or may not, it'll come from the breath. Let's take one more full breath here. And then let's press down through the foot or through the feet, hinging back up. And let's extend the right leg. So bringing the left foot back if it's not there already, rooting down through the left leg and foot, extending the right leg, keeping that right knee soft with the heel to the floor and the foot flexed back. Let's let that whole leg windshield wiper side to side. With the foot flexed back, it lets your whole leg move as a unit. You might feel it even coming up into your hip area. Let's come back through center and roll the ankle one direction. And the other direction. Let's point and flex the foot. Wiggle the toes. And then let's pull that leg in. When it gets in close, let's inhale, give it a little squeeze up, and exhale, lower down. Let's do 2 more of those on this side. And let's shake the legs out in any way that you'd like. Maybe it's letting the knees go in and out. Maybe it's bouncing the heels. Let's take a pause here, check in. Notice how you're feeling from side to side. Sometimes that's just kind of fun once you've done a side to notice if there are any differences before you check in and do the other side. And you may need something different on this other side. So I'll go through the options again. You could root down through the right leg and foot, bringing the left foot towards the right, letting the left knee fall out, coming onto the outside blade of the left foot. You could take both feet more out front and towards the center, crossing the left ankle over the right. Or you could keep that right foot in where it was and cross the left ankle up over the right knee. And maybe you start with a little rocking side to side. Try to honor wherever this side is at. May need something completely different. That's okay. Let's come back through center and then option to lift and lower the left knee. So are you already noticing some differences side to side? I know I am. Let's let that left knee settle as we lengthen the spine on the inhale and then hinge forward on the next exhale. Long spine, chest open, pivot point is at the hips. And then full breaths wherever you're at. Let's take one more full breath here. And then press down through the foot or through the feet as you hinge back up, bringing the left foot down. And let's root down through the right leg and foot and extend the left leg this time. Soft left knee, foot flexed back, and then windshield wiper the left foot and leg side to side. Let's bring it back through center. Roll the ankle one direction. And the other direction. Point and flex the foot. Wiggle the toes. Let's pull that left foot in. When it gets in close, let's inhale, squeeze it up, and exhale, lower down. Let's do two more. Giving the legs a shake out in whatever way you like. And then let's heel toe the feet wider. Knees are still roughly over the ankles. Our ankles might be slightly in front of the knees. Let's inhale here again as we lengthen the spine and soften the shoulders. And then on the next exhale, let the hinge forward come from the hips again, keeping the spine long. You might be here with your hands on your thighs, really lengthening from your sitting bones all the way through the top of the head. If there's more space, maybe you're coming down to forearms And you can always use the hands to slide the flesh of the belly towards the center. So you could come to forearms, like I said, if there's enough space. And if there's still more space, you're always welcome to walk your hands down the legs, towards the feet or the floor, letting the head and neck release down last. Maybe you slowly nod the head yes. And slowly shake the head no. Let's take one more full breath wherever you're at. And then bring the head and neck back in line with the spine. Press down through the feet as you use your hands to slowly walk back up. And pause here, reacclimating in case you've gotten lightheaded at all. And if you'd like to, take that cross of the arms with the hands or fingertips towards the shoulders, you can do that again. You can also introduce a little bit of rocking side to side if that feels good for you. I'm not alone in this experience. Soften your throat, your jaw and tongue and lips. Feel the warmth of your hands. Let's release that arm position, give them a shake out. Let's heel toe the feet back together. And let's take and turn towards the left. Grab your extra blanket and fold it up so it's nice and beefy. You could also use your extra pillow if you need more height. But we're going to bring this down in front of the center of the chair. Take your hand to the back of the chair, your left hand to the back of the chair, and then drop the right knee down over the front onto that padding. I'm going to move this back a little bit. So the left hip and part of the left thigh are still on the chair, and then the right thigh and hip are off the chair. So you can always keep that left hand on the chair for support. And then you can adjust how much stretch is in the front of that right hip and thigh. If you would like more stretch, you can come up onto the toes and inch your knee back. Notice how that feels not only in the right thigh and hip, but if it changes anything in the low back. And if the low back is feeling crunched up, imagine you're kind of tucking the tail a little bit. That may also increase the sensation in the front of that right hip and thigh. And the left ankle's roughly under the left knee or slightly in front. And then see how you're feeling balance-wise here. You could take the right hand to the right hip, keeping the breath flowing. Sometimes we tend to hold the breath if we're trying too hard, so that might be a cue to you to back off somewhere if you find you're holding your breath. If you're feeling steady here, option to take the right arm up. Still keeping that right shoulder relatively soft. And if you're still feeling steady, option to also take the left arm up. Strong through the legs. Let's take 3 full breaths wherever you're at. After your third exhale, whenever it comes, let's release the arms if you had them extended. Probably taking the left hand to the back of the chair again for support to bring your right leg back up. Let's set the blanket off to the side for a moment. Let's bring the right leg out front. So still keeping the left leg turned out. And I'm at about 90 degrees. That might work for you. Maybe you need less. But we're rooting down through the feet. We're going to flow a little bit side to side. So let's start with our arms out, palms facing down, left hand roughly out in the direction of the left knee, and then your right arm completely opposite of that, out behind you. So this is our warrior 2. You could also turn your head to gaze out over those left fingertips. Let's bend that left elbow, taking the left forearm to the left thigh, and then reaching up and over with the right arm. Swing that right arm through with a circle, back to our warrior 2 arms. Then flip the palm, the left palm, reach it out even further past that left knee and up as we tip back a bit. Right hand could come to the right hip or maybe even the seat of the chair, depending on your chair. And then we're leaning back towards the right. So we're taking our spine side to side a little bit here. Let's come back, forearm down. This is our right angle, long through the right side of the body. Bring that right arm through, back to our warrior 2 arms. Flip the left palm up, reach it forward and up to our peaceful warrior, long through the left side of the body. Let's do that a couple more times. Find your own pace. Let's finish up on this last one. And we'll go ahead, whenever you're ready, let's pause through center, just check in a little bit. Notice how you're feeling from side to side. And then let's take it to the other side. So bringing your blanket back in, taking the right hand to the back of the chair, lowering that left knee to the support. So I'm noticing I could actually use a little bit more support on this side. So I think I'm going to bring my pillow on there. Hopefully this won't be too much. Sorry about that. My microphone's clipping to my chair here. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. You can walk that left knee back any amount so you get the right amount of stretch in the front of the left hip and thigh. You can always tuck your tail a little bit if you'd like to lengthen the low back. Let's start with the left hand on the left hip. So checking in, feeling how balanced you're feeling on this side. So honor whatever you're going to need on this side. If you are feeling steady, you might take the left arm up. If you're still feeling steady, you could also take the right arm up. Let the shoulders be soft. Take 3 full breaths wherever you're at. After your third exhale, releasing the arms if you had them extended. Taking the right hand to the back of the chair again for support. Bringing that left knee up. Moving your props off to the side. And now we have the left knee out front, the right knee turned out to the side. And let's take our arms out about shoulder height, palms facing down, right palm headed out over the direction of the right knee, the left arm completely behind that. Let the shoulders be soft, right gaze can come out over the right fingertips. And then we can bend the right elbow, right forearm to the right thigh, reaching the left arm up and over. Circling the left fingertips forward and through, back to our warrior 2 arms. Face the right palm up, reach out through the right fingertips and then up. Left hand could come to the left hip or the seat of the chair. As the right arm reaches up and over, lengthening the right side of the body. And back through warrior 2. So go ahead and go through this at your own pace. You're welcome to stay more than one breath cycle and in any position if you find a sweet spot you'd like to explore. Let's have this one be our last round. And after you're complete, we can turn back forward, come back through center. And let's finish up with a few flowing twists. Let's inhale the arms up. And on the exhale, take the twist one direction. Front hand could come to the outside of that thigh, back hand to the back of the chair. And using the arms for support rather than to crank the twist past where it naturally wants to go. Let's inhale and wind to center. Exhale, taking the twist in the opposite direction. Let's take it once more to each side. After your last one, check in, see if there are any other movements that you'd like to take before we settle in for some stillness. And then let's grab our extra blanket, opening it up wide, and then folding it in half the long direction, and then rolling it that long direction. So you're headed towards a scarf-like shape. And then that can come around behind the back of the neck. If you like and your blanket's long enough, you could always cross in front, more like a scarf, and then tuck it under your armpits. Or you could just straight away tuck it under the armpits. Now we're looking to set up for some more comfort and ease. So we want to use the blanket to support the back of the neck, but not pull too hard down on it. So adjust the tension there. Maybe you choose to bring your pillow in behind you if you haven't already. You might reposition your legs in some sort of way or sit back, whatever feels best for you. You can lower your gaze, find that point to rest your gaze on, or close your eyes completely. And then you can bring in that arm cross if you choose, which might feel a little bit different here if you're using your blanket. Your fingertips might not come to your shoulders anymore. Feel the body breathing under the cross of your arms. You might even feel your heart beating. Feel the warmth of skin on skin. I'm not alone in this experience. Even though we're far apart and all over the world, we're still sharing this same time together. Let's take a few bees breaths. Maybe you switch the cross of your arms if you want to keep them like this for a couple more moments, just to switch it up. Let's take a few bees breaths. So to do this, we'll inhale through the nose, and then on the exhale, with the mouth closed, we make a humming sound. And you make that sound through the entirety of the exhale, exhaling all the air out, and then let the next inhale arise naturally. So with your arms crossed on your body, you might be able to feel the vibration in your chest. Sometimes I can hear the beat of my heart in my hum. Feeling the vibration in your throat and jaw and lips. Let's do one more. Let's let that go. Release the cross of your arms if you were doing that. Let your breath find its own natural rhythm. Feel all the places where you're in contact with the floor and the chair and any props. Feel all those large and small touch points of grounding. And then let's rest our awareness on the exhale. Each exhale tends to be that softening and settling motion. So that can be a reminder to receive and soften into this support beneath you and around you any amount more. Just a fraction more with each exhale. And when your mind wanders off from that focal point of the exhale, which it likely will, probably it will do that again and again. Whenever you notice that your mind has wandered, just gently bring the awareness back to settle on the exhale, and then begin again without any judgment. Taking your own time, let's invite small movements back into the body. You could start out at the fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, gradually making your way towards any larger movements that feel best to wake the body up. Opening the eyes if they were closed or lifting the gaze, visually reorienting to your space. If you'd like to join me to close, you can take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. May I greet my body with gentleness. May I soften when life invites me to harden. May I listen to my intuition with wisdom and trust it with ease. And may I appreciate my body a little more in this moment, just as it is. And then we can bring the hands together in front of the heart. Let's take one breath together. We'll inhale and exhale. Thank you for sharing your time and your practice with me today.